Welcome back. Donald Trump enjoying a boost in the polls after the Republican convention. Will Hillary Clinton get the same kind of bounce after the Democratic National Convention? As it stands now, the latest Real Clear Politics average shows Clinton leading by about 1 point. What a tight race. Let's bring it up right now with Frank Luntz. He is pollster and Fox News contributor, and always great to see you, Frank. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
What do you think? What are you expecting after the Democratic National Convention for Hillary Clinton's numbers?
I'm expecting her to go to roughly a 3 or 4 point lead, which is exactly what existed before the Republican convention. Both candidates will get smaller than average bounces. What you normally look at this point in the 21st century is a bounce of about 4, 5, 6%. Anything bigger, and it's truly significant. The other thing, Maria, is that I don't believe that there's a significant number of undecided voters out there. In fact, I think it's only about 10%. And the reason why is that people will say to you, will say to a pollster, well, I'm undecided. How likely are you to vote for Hillary Clinton? Well, I'm not sure. Well, what about Donald Trump? No way. So they say they're undecided because they haven't made the absolute commitment to one candidate, but they've already dismissed the other. So I think it's only 1 out of 10 voters that are truly undecided at this point.
I see. Okay, so not as many undecided. What about independents, Frank?
There's a greater degree of independence because more Americans are rejecting the Republican and the Democratic ideology.
They don't want to be labeled.
Exactly. But that's part of this whole millennial thing, where they don't want to be grouped into some category. It's not that they aren't. They may still vote that way. They just don't want to be labeled that way.
Let me ask you about the issues that are important to people. We know that national security and the economy keep coming up as the number one and number two issues for the American people. Do you think that is what is going to drive them? What will drive voters going into this election in November?
Well, I'm going to challenge conventional wisdom again, because what will drive independents and what drives those who are the remainder of the undecided isn't issues. It's not policy. It's the attributes, the character traits of the candidates. Do I trust them? Do they say what they mean and mean what they say? Are they going to be a consistent leader in times of crisis? Those are the attributes. Look, if you're a Republican, you have an ideology. If you're a Democrat, you have a philosophy. But if you're an independent, you're looking at the character traits of the candidate, and that's what's going to help you make that decision. And frankly, both Trump and Clinton helped themselves during their conventions by promoting who they are as people, not just where they stand on the issues.
That's interesting, yeah, because it was largely about that at the Democratic National Convention, right? I mean, Bill Clinton talking about we met in 1971 and took us through their lives. Her daughter, Chelsea, doing the same thing, talking about what kind of a mother she has been. And then on the Republican side, same thing as well. We heard from all of Trump's children. You think that's going to resonate more than, okay, here's what I'm going to do for you, and here's why this economic policy will move the needle on your family's fortunes?
So I want to be candid through this entire election process. And Donald Trump Jr. outperformed expectations more than any of the relatives.
I agree with you, yeah.
You assume Chelsea Clinton's going to do well because she's been doing this now since she was a child. This is something brand new for Trump Jr. And it was his humility that the public responded so favorably to. Now, let me do the converse. To my surprise, Bill Clinton did not perform as well. I'm going to be talking about this on the O'Reilly Factor tomorrow night. Clinton's presentation people thought was disingenuous and did not tell the whole story. Maria, if you're going to talk about the personality and the persona of the candidate, you have to be candid, you have to be open, and you're going to need to acknowledge the good or the bad, or the public's simply not going to believe you.
Yeah, you didn't see the kind of euphoria after Bill Clinton, for sure. And, yeah, you make a really good point, because people have their feelings about Hillary and Donald. And if you try to be somebody you're not and who they don't think that's who you are, they will react and they will reject.
And there's a lesson to this, which is the strongest speech of them all was the Khan family. And I know that Harry Kurtz in a moment is going to discuss the media making him into a celebrity. The fact is, his presentation was incredibly powerful, and it caused undecided voters to pause and to consider what he was saying.
Authentic. Yeah.
It is authentic, and it's not from a politician. This is where the Democrats made a mistake. And the Republicans could have gone even further. It's real people that the American people want to hear from, not their elected officials.
Yeah, I totally understand. Great to see you, Frank. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon, Frank Luntz.